Hello everybody, welcome into FEG-PC Money Racing live tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Getting ready for 45 laps of high-speed, high-banked action. Just tuning in, appreciate you being here. You are watching Austin Green on Ghost Racing Network. Supposed to have Matthew Baker up here in the booth tonight. Can't find him right now, not sure what he's got going on. But nonetheless, we're getting ready to get this thing kicked off as the drivers get rolling. Let's head right down trackside and get started with your race info here tonight. It's going to be the Talladega 45 breakdown for it. 45 laps around this 2.65-mile super speedway trial. Going to be in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here tonight. 45 laps again. Everyone's going to have 75% fuel. We actually just noticed that change here towards the end. Unlimited tires is always one fast repair. And, of course, it will be fixed setups. Moving on over to your starting grid. It's a pretty small field here tonight. But nonetheless, rolling off on pole, it is indeed going to be Alex Hill and the 77. Just behind him will start Devin Ray, first running truck tonight from McCall Motorsports. Steven Korsak going to be starting on the inside of row number 2. He'll start third. Ron Morris Jr. back in fourth. David Sheets and Jason Jacoby going to be making up row number 3. John Ward will start from 7th. He'll have an ex-teammate in Ken McCall Jr. to his outside in 8th. Danny Barnes starting in 9th, and rounding out the field here tonight is going to be Logan York, who may have actually had to bail out, so it may make it a 9-truck field. So again, small field here tonight. But nonetheless, sometimes you get the small fields and the racing action is at its peak. We could see these guys potentially 3 wide for 3 rows deep this entire race. And didn't have anybody choose to go on the driver cams here tonight, so we won't have any of those. But as we get ready, had some issues the other night with SDK. Looks like it's all back to normal working order here tonight. And as we mentioned, that 75% fuel, I would look to see guys probably be able to make it somewhere around 20 laps, if I had to guess, on a full tank. So there will be at least 1 pit stop, potentially 2. Now, if we were to get a caution at any point, that could potentially hinder that strategy and maybe turn it into a 1-stopper. Haven't been here for FEG Money Racing in a little while, but we're back tonight, of course, at the High Banks. These guys had a money race just before this, so everybody's amped up and ready to go. And with that, they will roll into the trial for the first time. Everybody's going to downshift to 2nd gear. Starter with the flag in hand. He's ready to go, and so are we. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Talladega. First laps in the book. It's going to go to Steve Korsak in that 27 truck. He will lead the way on the inside. Didn't take him long to find his way to the front. David Sheets pushing 2nd in line. Looks like he's actually rocking a little bit of a newer paint scheme here tonight. It looks like he's actually got a little bit more blue and black than the usual red, silver, and black. Rounding out the pack is still that 03 truck of Ken McCall Jr. Not a lot of progress to be made early. You see the 2 Hyper Motorsports trucks in the field tonight. Tell by the flames on the front hood and down the sides of those 2 trucks, it's Danny Barnes and John Ward. And besides those 2, the biggest team in the field tonight, of course, well, is going to be McCall Motorsports. I think if you're Alex in this position, you got to try to work together with Steve Korsak, which, although they're on separate teams, I think those 2 are indeed going to work together here tonight. The 77 continues to control the top, and Steve Korsak continues to control the bottom. I think the only solo guy in here tonight is going to be Jason Jacoby in that number 88 truck. And we'll have to see who he's able to find teammates with here. 2 versus 3. And he's actually going to split the 77 and get a lot of help in doing so. Now John Ward's going to jump up to the middle before he goes back down to the bottom to try to push David Sheets clear. And if you needed any indication that Steve Korsak was indeed working with the 77 or 7 here tonight, and there is going to be your answer as he jumped right up to help the 77. And the 88 of Jason Kobe continues to try to lead it up top. Looking at that track temp, though, it's really cool. It's going to get hard to get that 3rd lane working, especially with the small amount of trucks that we have here tonight. But it is morning. The sun's going to continue to rise here. Maybe by the time we're at the end of this race, it'll be enough to make that outside work a little bit better. But if you have the numbers, you're going to have the speed. Problem is, Steve Korsak, every time that third lane goes to form, he is able to jump to the middle. Ooh, some contact. Potentially almost our first wreck there of the night as everybody was able to hold on. But going back to what I was just getting ready to say is every time that they jump to that third lane, Steve Korsak jumps up to the middle to help his teammate. And there you're going to see him do a little bit of side draft on Jason Jacoby, trying to keep him from getting clear. Doesn't look like it's going to be enough as now the 88 does clear the middle, and he'll clear low. We'll see what Steve decides to do. Stays up to the middle. Now he's going to make a move as he dives to the bottom. Jason tried to throw a block. Steve Korsak was having none of it. And as he makes that move, that's going to separate him and his teammate here tonight. Alex Hill, who's going to get stuck now as they push her. So you got 2 trucks in the middle, 2 on the outside. And, ooh, there's another big move from Steve Korsak up to the middle. That's going to give David Sheets the lead back on the bottom. And now I know it was only 10 guys, but what you got to look at here is it was a $35 entry. I'm pretty sure is what it was here tonight. And that's going to add up pretty quick. You know, you figure you got $35 at 10 guys. Actually, I think we're going to make it 9, so you do $350 minus 35. That's what your payouts are looking like here tonight. So you still get first or second in this race from what I remember seeing in race control. It's a good sum of money. So I think these guys are going to continue to go at it here and trade haymakers until the first round of pit stops. But when it's time for pit stops, if you are that 88 truck of Jason Jacoby, you're going to have to make sure that you go in with one of these other teams, whether it be Hyper and be that third truck here tonight, NBG be their third truck tonight, or of course going with McCall Motorsports, who is fielding what looks to be 4 trucks here in the field tonight. As they cross the line out to complete 7 laps in. Still Steve Korsak out in front. Has been doing a nice job of working around all of the middle and bottom lines. Hasn't really tampered with the top just yet. Devin Ray, Ron Morris Jr., those two continue to try to make something work. Just, again, not a lot of speed, especially when you only have 2 trucks. So they're going to have to think about it again. And for now, they're going to tuck back in line. Let's hop on board here, though, a little bit further back. Ride on board for a minute with Danny Barnes in the 7. One of the Hyper Motorsports drivers looking to see if he can get his team owner who sits just in front of him on the outside a win here tonight. Again, I know I said it once, but those are 2 really, really sweet-looking trucks. And he sees the back bumper of David Sheets, and he's doing a good job. Knows that he's not the lead pusher, sits in 6 right now. All he's got to do is stay within decent range. In fact, he's the 4th truck back, so he's probably in the best position here to honestly just save some fuel. I mean, if you look at it, if you could somehow stretch it right here to about 23 laps. Again, not sure the exact distance these guys can go, but if we see anybody make it to about lap 22, 23, then that'll mean that they're probably going to be good to go on just that one pit stop that they do indeed make. But right now, it hasn't looked like too many guys are saving fuel. I think Ken McCall Jr. might be doing just that, though, as he started in the back, and he has not really flinched since. Been on the bottom, continues to ride. Let's actually take a ride on board with him to see if it sounds like he's saving any. You see now he's going to jump to the top, just trying to stay in whichever line has the bigger draft. You got to be a little bit more careful as you're in the back of the pack with these trucks. It's a lot easier to lose the draft. And as long as Ken's probably within half a second, he doesn't have too much to worry about, but it doesn't take long. You're letting off, all of a sudden you find yourself maybe a second back, and if you don't have any arrow push behind you, it can be really, really hard to make that time back up. Back up front, there's the view for Steve Korsak, who is just holding a nice, steady line. Doesn't want to do anything too aggressive right here, just trying to be nice and smooth. And he continues to get a great push now as he's on the outside line. He has found the 77 of Alex Hill again. It looks like the 92 of John Ward is seeing if he can't get clear. And if you're 27 and 77, I thought maybe they're going to get that 27 clear right there to see if he would jump down. It kind of seems like, again, I know we don't have that many trucks, but it seems like they're already starting to get into that pit formation where everybody single files out to the bottom, and they just ride like that for sometimes 3 to 5 laps, all in preparation for that green flag pit stop where everybody's going to try to get down clean. And I think last time I saw Steve out here in one of the money races, he had a really, really unfortunate time getting onto the pits. Bad luck, and it cost that 27 dearly, but he's looking to change that around tonight. And Jason Jacoby, I've heard a lot of talk about this guy from a lot of different teams, and they say just how talented he is for a guy that doesn't have a team yet. I don't think it's going to take too long. John Ward pushing him right now is probably saying to himself, this guy's holding a pretty steady line. Might have to see if he's interested in joining Hyper Motorsports. And Danny Barnes in the 7 continues to run inside the top 5. Biggest mover in the field right now, though, are both of those top 2 trucks who have now split it. Steve Korsak's going to split it even more as he jumps to the outside here with Sean Hill. And John Ward now up 6 from where he started. David Sheets up 3. And those 2 trucks on the outside try to get clear. Looks like Steve wasn't quite able to do it. And it's just making it so hard. All it's going to take is one more truck. In this case, it would either be Ron Morris Jr. or Ken McCall Jr. If either one of those trucks hops up either to the middle or top line right here, then it would give the momentum. And now we're going to see, Ron Morris Jr. thought about it. I think he saw Steve make an evasive maneuver back to the bottom to try to cut off that run. And he quickly bailed out of that, said, no, thank you. There's the push that John Ward's given Jason Jacoby. And, well, now that David Sheets has given to John Ward a lot of pushing going on, as there is the gearbox cam for David Sheets. He is currently up 3 positions from where he started. And looking further back, Steve Korsak along with the 77 of Alex Hill. They have both settled in line now in that 7th and 8th position. Talked about Logan York, currently 10th on the scoring. Did not actually start the race after registering, so he's not in here tonight. Coming across the line here to take lap number 11. Just over a 4th. Actually, not quite a 4th of the way through this race just yet, as everybody continues to stay 2 by 2. Haven't managed to get everybody a single file out just yet. We've seen a lot of 3 wide, but no runs that have really worked too well on that 3rd lane. Momentum's going to have to come from the 2nd line. Devin Ray's doing a lot of pushing right now. First time, actually not first time, but we definitely have not seen him really be leading too much here yet tonight. And just as I say that, the 88 is going to drop down to open the lead up on the outside to Devin Ray. But he's got 2 trucks out there right now. Just him and Ron Morris Jr. We'll see if maybe Ken decides to jump up and help a teammate. And no, Devin's actually going to sneak right into line. And so now I think Ron's going to try to find that final spot somewhere in line. Look to see if nobody lets him in, maybe that 03 help him out. And Steve Korsak maybe feeling a little generous here. Sure enough, he's going to let that 76 slide in line. And that's what you like to see in the smaller field, is everybody having mutual respect. These guys, they're going to race it out. You can believe that by the end of the race, but I think now they decided, you know what? We got up here. We got to have a little fun. A lot of laps to go. Let's all just kind of tuck in line here, ride around a little bit, and see if we can make it to this first green flag pit stop, which, as small as the field is, you're going to have to be perfect. I mean, one mistake, and you're not going to have a drafting partner when you come out of the pits. And if you don't have a drafting partner, you're going to fall back in a hurry. As we take a look at the dashboard speeds here tonight. And actually, let's go ahead and make this smaller real quick. Everybody watching at home. Go ahead and narrow that down so we can get a broader view here. And there you go. As we take a look, Jason Jacoby coming into trial is going to get up to about 186 miles an hour. But as John Ward's going to try to tag onto the back bumper of that 88 machine, we'll see what he can get to. Getting down to turn number 1, and Ward, of course, in the draft doing the pushing. He's going to get up to about 187 miles an hour. So these guys by no means are putting down a blistering pace yet here tonight. But as everybody stays content to ride, going to be approaching what I would have to guess. Again, I think that window is going to open up probably any time between lap 18 and probably about lap 23. I know that's a broad window, but that's what we got for the first time. We'll see if that kind of narrows down a little bit after we see that first pit stop. But if they can find a way to make it to 22 or 23, then they might be good to go the entire way. And the guy that I'm keeping my eye on the most for that strategy is this 03 of Ken McCall Jr. Again, he started in the back, and he stayed there. We know that Ken doesn't like to sit at the back, so usually if you see him back here, it means there's a little bit of strategy of some sort going on. I think that's exactly what Ken McCall Jr. is doing right now. He lets these guys continue to burn more fuel. Remember, the farther back you are in the draft, the more of a hole that's being punched in the air in front of you. You're not going to have to use as much throttle to keep up. Let's take a ride on board. Listen to his RPMs. We'll see if we can compare these actually to one of the guys that's leading the field. So there you go right here. You hear how he bails out at throttle. Sounds like he's probably only about 50 to 60% throttle right there. Yeah, and he just continues to do it that way. You change, or you compare that to what we see up front here for Jason Jacoby, and listen to the difference. Notice how you don't hear any liftoff off the throttle. And that's because when you lead here at Talladega, if you're not full throttle, you're going to get run over. So Jason Jacoby, as he continues to lead, he's also continuing to burn the most fuel. And that might hurt him on the back end of this run, and it's easy to put him out in front when he doesn't have any teammates. And he probably, I mean, he's doing the right thing here. Track position's always important, but yeah, there you go. There's a smart decision. That's exactly what I like to see right there from Jason. I think he is playing this smart. He's realizing the games that these guys might be playing, and he says, okay, I'll play your game. He's looking to fall to the back here, and I think he probably wants to hop in line before getting all the way to the back, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to let him. So he'll have to tuck in line, hopefully behind Ken McCall Jr., And now he is going to see if he can't try his hand in saving a little fuel here. That puts John Ward up to the lead. You got Devin Ray in second, David Sheets back in third, Danny Barnes in fourth, Ron Morse Jr. in fifth, Steve Korsak back in sixth, Alex Hill in seventh, Jason Jacoby eighth, Ken McCall Jr. rounding out the field currently in ninth. I appreciate everybody again for coming out here tonight. 12 viewers, not too bad. Got a couple more than the guys that we see on track here tonight. Always good sign. And now, something we'll talk about a little bit later, but I think a lot of these guys maybe kind of getting a little bit of a prelude warm-up to is the big FEG money race we got coming up. I believe it's either on Friday or Saturday. We'll take a look at the announcement here in a little bit. But we haven't seen a major FEG money race in a while, but when we used to see them, I'm talking full houses and big, big payouts. I remember seeing some guys go home with over $1,000 on a Friday night. So that's going to be a fun one. We'll have to see how it all pans out. And I believe that race is broadcasted as well over on a different network, of course. And we'll give you all the details for that. John Ward still leading as he works his way out of turn number 4. They'll be coming to take lap 17 this next time around. And pit stops, looks like the fuel window will open probably next lap. But again, I don't look to see anybody pit that early unless you're committing yourselves to a 3-stop strategy. Now, we know McCall Motorsports is going to all go in as one unit. And I think the rest of the field is probably going to follow. I mean, you figure what is NBG Motorsports here tonight with Steve Korsak and Alex Hill, if they go in together, it's still only 2 trucks. They run the risk of if they lose the draft, they might permanently lose it for the rest of this race. And then, of course, if you're Hyper Motorsports, you only got 2 trucks as well, John Ward and Danny Barnes. And then you look even further back to Jason Jacoby. Who's he going to pit with? Does he pick one of the 2 smaller 2-person teams here tonight? Or does he try to go in with McCall Motorsports? The one thing he doesn't want to do is go in by himself. And it looks like John in the chat says, being a spectator tonight, I'm going to pull for Devin Ray. And that's a good man to root for. One of the guys that we talked about felt like an underdog pick for so long. But he snagged himself some great track position. And I believe he actually was indeed your winner. Yeah, sure enough. Last PGR race. And so he's got a lot of confidence on his side now. And he's got plenty of talent to get the job done. And we see him getting in a lot more positions to put himself to win some money at the end of these FEG races. And it looks like John, Hype, and Heath Job, the 3 guys that we got in the chat here tonight. Glad to see you guys tuning out. A little bit more of a casual broadcast, but we're having a good time up here just as the guys are down on track. And, you know, you notice when there's only about 9 trucks, and again, I know it's not many, but it gives all these guys a chance to kind of be as free and aggressive as they want. There's no 3-wide rule in play here tonight. And it's a lot of veterans. I mean, the only real rookie that you see in the field right now would be Jason Jacoby. A couple newer teams, of course, with Hyper Motorsports, but not really new guys. And that allows them to race as aggressive as they want throughout this entire race. Play strategy while all keeping it very respectful. And there's a chance that we don't see any cautions by the end of this race, especially with how clean things have been so far. And David Sheets continues to stay in second. Going back a little bit further on in the pack here. Ken McCall Jr. still continuing to save fuel behind the 88 of Jason Jacoby, who I think decided to play it a little bit smarter. And actually, let's go back to Jacoby here and take an onboard view real quick. And here you go. Wow, boy, he is really saving fuel. I mean, I thought Ken McCall Jr. was saving a lot. Let's see if we can take a look at his throttle tracing here. And I can't really exactly point it out. But if you look on the bottom right of your screen, you see that little blue arch that goes around. That's supposed to be the general throttle chasing, although unfortunately it's not as accurate as we would like it to be. But notice it there. It's not quite all the way. You take a look at Ken McCall Jr. Notice his is not quite all the way either. Continues to just save some fuel. There you go. There's a big let off. That was probably about to 70% throttle. Compare that to John Ward. And actually, no, John's saving. Actually, this whole pack is playing games right here. Everybody's saving fuel right now, including your leader, John Ward. And he knows because if he saves hard enough, these guys will eventually have to pass him. And as much as a saving game as this is quickly turned into here in about the last 5 to 10 laps, you better believe everybody in this pack is trying to stretch it another 2 to 3 laps to make this a one-stop race. Again, 75% fuel is right at that margin. And that's what we started out here tonight. Some guys, though, chose to be more aggressive with their fuel than others. David Sheets fading back a little bit here. He continues to try to save. And just that cat and mouse game, these guys are ticking off very, very slow lap times right now. And as we take a look at them, they go 52.8. And the dashboard speed confirms. I mean, they were going 100 and I believe it was 86 miles an hour or so earlier down into turn 1. This time, John Ward and Danny Barnes are 2 leaders, only about 175. And them being down about 10 miles an hour, that's by complete design here. And they keep playing duck, duck, goose. Who wants to lead? John Ward certainly doesn't. Not anymore. Neither does his teammate Danny Barnes. He jumps out too and says, you know what, you guys go ahead. We'll try to drop to the back. We'll see if David Sheets decides to play this cat and mouse game and how long he's willing to lead. Now, he did get to stay back and save fuel a little bit longer. But I think the 2 guys that concerned me the most was that 27 of Steve Korsek and the 88 of Jason Jacoby. Those 2, of course, led the most laps so far here tonight. And Ward and Danny Barnes continue to stay side by side on the outside line, waiting to get far enough back to drop in line. But they're taking their time as they just continue to save fuel on their fallback. And as it is now already 25 laps to go here at Talladega. And we are going to be expecting pit stops either this lap or next lap, assuming that guys can make it. But I think we might see the first round right here. I wish that we had one of these guys in the booth for fuel numbers. And maybe when they come out, we'll see if we can get a quick word with one of them. But now that it's shuffled out, it's David Sheets and Ron Morris Jr., 2 McCall Motorsports drivers leading the field here at Talladega. Steve Korsek back in 3rd. He's got a teammate here tonight. And Alex Hill behind him in the 77. Then it's Devin Ray, Jason Jacoby, and Ken McCall Jr. back in 7th. John Ward in 8th, and Danny Barnes rounding out the field here tonight, still sitting in 9th position. And as they work their way off turn 4, watch for the first round of pit stops. Are we going to get it? Sure enough, we are. Going to be led in here by David Sheets. 2 trucks going to stay out. And no, it was a fake. Take it back. Boy, I certainly bought it, and I think so did a couple of these guys towards the back, including Danny Barnes. Wow, what a well-executed move right there from McCall Motorsports. And it is going to cost them, well, almost cost them a little bit of time. Wow, that was a close call. Let's actually back this up and take another look at that. I thought for sure these guys were going to, they had me faked out here in the booth, and that's a little bit harder to do. A full-on bail, and then Sheets is just going to pull right back up, says no thank you. And I think Korsek and Hill maybe not too happy about that decision, but they're going to drop down here as I think Hill said, you know what, if you guys want to play that game, then I'm going to make sure that I can let my teammate back down the line, which he did. No harm, no foul. Everybody get it sorts out, but man, that hurt Danny Barnes as he's going to lose the pack, and he is probably going to need a caution now if he wants to get back in this race. This time, for real, pit stops underway as everybody's going to pull to the apron. Steve Korsek and Alex Hill going to stay out one more lap. Oh, Devin Ray gets turned into the outside wall. Looked like he came in way too hot. And spinning on track will just bring out the caution. So far, it doesn't. 22 gets it back straightened out. That caused more mayhem on the pits. As Jason Jacoby, I believe he's got a little bit of damage, and he did not make the pits because of that. As the rest of McCall Motorsports comes to their box, so does John Ward in the 92. We'll take a look at it here in just a moment, but as they work out of the pits, chaos and not what they wanted to see. Looks like Ken McCall Jr. is going to get out clean. Ron Morris Jr., David Sheets, John Ward going to follow in suit. And, oh, now the yellow flag is going to fly. So we are going to have a caution. This is going to save Danny Barnes' race. And I believe this caution, let's see, I believe it was an admin thrown caution. Yeah, sure enough, looks like it was. But, hey, it's a good decision, right? I mean, you had a truck for what's such a small field spin in the middle of the track like that. I think you got to throw it. And so let's go back, take a look at what brings out your first and potentially only caution here of the night. And this is actually going to start back, coming to the pit road entry here. Now, Devin Ray, I'm thinking he must have got tagged right here from Jason Jacoby, especially with the speed he was carrying. But let's see. There you go. Ray's going to pull out a line. Jacoby starts to go. Everything seems clean here. And, oh, no, Ray just loses it. You got to wonder if he downshifted? Maybe locked up. Once he loses it, he comes up the track. Jason Jacoby, nowhere to go. They make some contact, and then Devin Ray actually does a phenomenal job here minimizing the contact. Does scrape the back bumper, but I don't think it's bad enough where he's going to have to use a fast repair. And then Jacoby comes to a stop. The biggest hurdle for him there was that he missed the pits. But he was able to get back rolling. Actually, so it was 2 trucks technically spun right there. And again, more saying towards that, I like that we see the caution right there, because I think if we don't, it makes the racing a little bit more boring too, in the sense of you have 2, 3 trucks right there involved in that, and if we don't get the caution, they're, of course, out of the race. But let's go on board here, actually, before we go any further with the Devin Ray and see if we can figure out exactly what goes wrong here. Some sort of technical issue inside the truck. Oh, man, he just gets really, really gnarly wheel hop right there. And I really can't tell you whether or not he shifted down. I mean, usually you would expect when it shifts down to see a big a big jump in the RPMs. But watch this. You're going to see the RPMs start hopping instead. Yeah, he sees Ken with a little slide. Seems fine. But does he do something odd here? Watch the RPMs. You see him drop. And then here you go. Now he's just wheel hopping. The back tires are chattering for him. And I wonder if we could get a view out of this from the gearbox. Take a listen. You're going to hear the rear tires chatter. Couldn't really hear it from that view. Take a nose look from behind him. See if that gives us a little better insight. As just behind him was indeed the 92 of John Ward and Jason Jacoby. Let's see if John had a pretty good view of this one. Watch the 22. Yeah, it just goes around on him. Not exactly sure what happened there. But nonetheless, sends it back out on track. And when he spun around, that's what really ultimately brought out the caution, I would have to say. So we take a couple more angles of it. And I mean, you did see a little fire out of the pipes, but again, couldn't tell if it was from a downshift or if he just let off. Give you a final angle of it right here. And just a really, really odd look for the 22. Got some damage, looked like on the right side from it, maybe a little bit in the right rear as well. But that caution cut him a break, and he got some bandages, and he is good to go, ready to get back to the green flag action. Steve Korsak and Alex Hill being scored as your leaders. Danny Barn back in third, Ron Morse Jr. fourth, David Sheets in fifth, Ken McCall Jr. in sixth, John Ward in seventh, Devin Ray in eighth, Jason Jacoby in ninth. And it looks like everybody should be good to go on fuel from here. So it will be a 20, actually it's going to be, looks like an 18-lap sprint to the finish. And we will have all that action as soon as we get back. We're going to take a quick break. Steve Korsak leading under caution at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. It's the Talladega 45 presented by FEG-PC Money Racing. For everybody that is just tuning in or has been tuned in, appreciate you watching me here. Austin Green live on Ghost Racing Network. Already halfway through the race, starting to slowly but surely wind this thing down. Your current leader coming to the green here is going to be Steve Korsak. He's got a teammate, though, in Alex Hill to his outside. And look to see if these two can orchestrate a good enough restart to either get down and line up 1-2, or potentially try to hold both of these lanes off for another 18 laps. Going to be a tough task. We'll see if they complete it. Green flag is back in the air. 18 laps to go at Talladega. And it was a good restart for both guys on the front row. Nobody's really got the advantage yet as they dive down into turn one. Ron Morse Jr., Ken McCall Jr., both on the outside pushing Alex Hill. And a couple of guys who were back there saving, in fact, I would say anybody that was saving during that run, not going to see that this time. So I think it's going to have more of the characteristics of what we saw kind of kick off this race. That was a lot of 2 and 3 wide action. And if you think we can't go 3 wide with just 9 trucks, well, I promise you we can. It'd be 3 per lane. And that might be what we see for the finish. As right now, Devin Ray, John Ward, maybe 2 of the guys that try to make the move first. And Alex Hill jumping down to the bottom. I think that was a wise choice by the 77. I think he was afraid he might have got split. And, you know, even though Steve might jump up to help him, we saw earlier that even with those 2 trucks, it still just wasn't quite enough help to keep them both up there. But that outside doing a great job pushing out as Ken McCall Jr. was able to get his teammate right there, Ron Morris Jr., clear. He now clears to the bottom to take the lead. And it looks like Hype Ages in chat had said, in reference to Devin Ray, he downshifted the second. Yeah, that certainly makes sense. I'm not sure why it didn't show that, though, on the RPM limiter. But I guess maybe if you spun out quick enough, that would explain all the wheel hopping. Devin Ray, though, and, of course, Jason Jacoby, the 2 guys involved in that accident you see are still up here. Nobody has lost a lap, and nobody's lost the field. Danny Barnes, the guy who had lost the field just before the caution flew, is now back up here. 4th on the inside, but a lot of really aggressive pushing going on up front is the 77 of Alex Hill, looking to see if he can get clear of Ron Morris Jr., and he does. He's going to jump up. Will Ken McCall Jr. work with them here? And it looks like he does indeed choose to stick with the 77 for now. Ron Morris Jr. getting a big push on the bottom. The truck did not like that. It got very, very unsteady. That allowed Ken McCall Jr. and Alex to get clear, but Ken was able to jump low before the 77 could defend it. And so now those 2 will line up 1-2 inside and outside. Jason Jacoby back to a position of being the lead pusher. He's found the lead a couple times tonight in a couple different ways. Boy, he would like to find one late. I believe payouts, as it goes here tonight, is either top 2 or top 3. And in fact, we'll blow this up just real quick again. And we should be able to take a look at that, as I believe Race Control actually had said earlier what the payouts were going to be. And it looks like, I'd say, hey, that's pretty good. They could do either top 3 or top 4, it looks like. If they do top 3, it would be $89 a driver. If they do top 4, I think it said $69. Remember, it's a $35 entry fee. So if they did top 3, you're doubling your money here tonight if you finish in the top 3. And if they do top 4, you're still making money. And I mean, with only a 9-truck field, you do that math, it's pretty simple. All you got to do is finish inside or just about top half of the field, and you will be getting yourself some pretty good money to walk away with. Maybe put that money towards the big race that we are, of course, going to see coming up here in just a couple of days. Let's head over to the announcement board to take a look real quick. FEG-PC Talladega Mega Money Racing style. It's on Saturday. $3,500 going to be given away to the top 15 drivers. Green flag at 9:30, and that race will be broadcasted on, looks like, GSRC, Global Sim Racing Channel. Make sure you go check it out. I know in previous events, these have been very, very big deals. I mean, you look at it right there. You finish in the top 2, you're going home with $500. Third and fourth, $400. All the way back to 10th, going home with $200. And 11th through 15th would be $100. And again, you break that down, I believe it's a $65, I believe it's either a $65 or $69 entry. Still pretty good odds that if you can finish in the top 15, even if we have 60 trucks, then that would be, if you can just finish in the top 25% of the field, you could be going home with a handsome sum of money, almost double what you came in with, and be one of the lucky 2 to finish 1-2 in that race. You could be going home with well over quadruple your money. Back live, though, the on-track action is starting to heat up. Guys ready to stop being patient. They know we are starting to wind down on the end of this thing, and it's go time for Jason Jacoby and Devin Ray. They split the 77 of Alex Hill. He got in the sucker hole, and to the back he went. And as he dips in line on that outside line, he's going to see if he can help these 2 up, maybe try to make some extra friends. Ken McCall Jr. now is going to split Steve Korsak. Not sure if Steve did that by design or maybe just left it open just enough for the 03 to slide his nose down there. But you see Steve have to do a lot of side drafting here. It's going to pay off nicely. They'll watch this run that he's going to get down the back straightaway. Big push from Jason Jacoby. 27 is going to get clear by a mile. 88 maybe going to get clear as well, as they now stack up to a 3-truck tandem. And yep, sure enough, Jacoby gets clear and he makes the move this time. Continue to see it play out as the second truck on the outside continues to be the guy that actually drops down first to make the move on the truck leading that lane. And normally that's not the way it pans out, but it's certainly been the case so far here tonight. And looking again at the weather outside, it has warmed up in terms of track temp a little bit. Looks like 3 degrees from where we were earlier, as it is now just past 7 o'clock sim time. And so that inside line is going to just ever so slightly start to fade a little bit more in terms of over the long run. And it's not much of a long run, so I think this is going to come down to just a good old-fashioned battle of who can push harder coming to the checkered. And Steve Korsak with another really big side draft right there. That looked like it made Ken McCall Jr.'s truck a little uncomfortable, as now we're going to see Devin Ray jump to the outside. I think he was looking to see if he could get some help from anybody. Nobody went with him, but David Sheets, luckily that he had a teammate there, is going to let him right back in. John Ward doesn't like what he sees, so he's going to drop to the bottom and try to line up now behind his teammate. Ron Morris Jr. will jump back up to the top, and they are just as quick as they were 3 wide, back to 2 by 2. How about a little crank it up here in the last 12 laps? And that's going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. Hope everybody did enjoy. Up front, the 77 has found his way back to the lead. Didn't take him too long. And there should be no surprise there. Alex Hill trying to control the outside, but now a big push on the inside from Steve Korsak to Jason Jacoby is going to get both of those two clear. Steve will take advantage of the moves. He jumps up, but looking further back, McCall Motorsports is going to split both of the NBG guys. Thought Steve would maybe think about a block there. He doesn't. And all he can do now is try to side draft the 76, which, man, he pulls a big side draft on Ron Morris Jr. right there. And you can see it still wasn't enough, but it may just get him back even as Ron Morris Jr. washed up the track there a little bit through 3 and 4. The 27 to 77 trying everything to stand tough here, but it's just going to be so hard to do with 4 trucks on the outside as fast as they are. McCall Motorsports now going to put Ron Morris Jr. in front. Oh, Steve Korsak trying to make the move. Not going to work. Now they're going to get split 4 wide. Back to 3 as they go down into 1. I didn't even know we could get 4 wide with only 9 trucks, but we found a way. Steve Korsak is able to retain the lead as Ron Morris Jr. now in the middle with the push from Alex Hill. Ken's going to wash down. Ron Morris Jr. up into the wall. It's going to turn 3 trucks around. 2 sliding to the inside wall, making a couple more. Sean Hill now hits the inside wall as looks like Devin Ray comes to a halt. He's got smoke, and so does Ron Morris Jr. 22 is able to roll on. I'm not so sure about this 76 car. And no, he's going to have to tow it. This is going to be your second caution of the night. It comes with 8 laps to go. Let's go back and take a look and watch Steve Korsak right here. Actually, excuse me. I take that back. I didn't mean to say Steve. Watch up top here. Ken McCall Jr. and Ron Morris Jr. This is where the contact's going to start. And we'll go to the chopper view for it. And here you go. Looks like Devin. Ooh, there it is. Devin looks like, yeah, just hits Ken a little bit offset. Doesn't take much. And again, he was just trying to help his teammate to the front. But you can see just slightly here. He's set right here. He's set. Now he's offset. And that's when he's going to make the push. Boom. There's the contact to the bumper. It just turns that 03 truck down the hill. Ken tries to save it initially, but it looks like, I'm not sure if that second tap is a little bit of a netco tap or the second little love tap here from Devin Ray. Right there. Ken just tried everything to save it. Unfortunately, can't quite. Gets in Ron Morris Jr. That turns 76 up into the outside wall. Pretty big hit. That's going to definitely destroy that truck. Be fast pair worthy. And then down the track, the 77 back up into the outside wall before he's now going to slide down. And look like for the most part, though, Ken McCall Jr. was able to avoid the major damage in it. And let's actually go to Ken McCall Jr. here and see if we can ride on board with him real quick. This ought to give us a pretty good perspective of just how hard it was. He was trying everything to hold this truck straight. And there's the turn trying to save it. And you can see as he was straightening it out to save it, just turned it a little bit more to the left. And that's all it unfortunately took. As Ron Morris Jr. comes to a stop on the bottom of the track. Let's take a couple more angles of this one here. And out of 9 trucks, I think that collected either half or maybe one over half. It was certainly a pretty good one. So the 76 Gamecocks Chevy Silverado for Ron Morris Jr. with heavy damage. He had to tow it. And the only thing for him is that you hope is that he didn't go a lap down, but unfortunately I'm thinking he probably did in part of paying that tow bill. But he will get the damage fixed. Probably going to need a caution, but certainly wouldn't completely rule it out here with the chance of we're going to be coming to 5 laps to go. It looks like it'll be a 4-lap restart. And so we won't quite be into overtime just yet. But if we can make it to that white flag after we take the green, then the race, of course, would be official 2 laps from when it starts. And it is still Steve Korsak with the lead. Jason Jacoby back in 2nd. John Ward in 3rd. Devin Ray in 4th. Ken McCall Jr. back in 5th with Alex Hill in 6th. David Sheets 7th. He still sits on pit roads in pit road along with Danny Barnes, Ron Morris Jr., and then, of course, Logan York not in the race here tonight. And I want to see, we got quite a few guys in here tonight. Let's see if we can pull one of them up for a quick word. Looks like actually McCall Motorsports, the only guys we got left in here and involved in that last wreck was Ken McCall Jr., but it looked like for the most part he was able to survive it. Let's see what he's got to say about how this thing's going to finish up. Hey, Ken, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, it's been a relatively calm race, but we've had a couple cautions here, have one late. Looked like just a little bit of incidental contact between you and your teammate there, but you're all going to try to regroup. How do you try to get the victory here in these last 4 laps or so?
I don't know, man. It's going to be chaos right here these last couple laps. Just try to get hooked up with these teammates and try to get somebody to the front.
Well, speaking of teammates, we saw it in that last run. It looked like when all 4 of you got hooked up, you guys were able to finally get that 3rd lane working. I feel like overall tonight, 3rd lane maybe not been as effective, but when you were able to get 4 trucks up there, did you feel like that was what it really needed?
Yeah, I think the 3rd lane is going to be the way to go, especially here with 1 lap to go for sure.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye, see if you can't bring home a victory here tonight. Thanks for talking to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, put Ken McCall Jr. back down to his teammates here. Talked about earlier, Matthew Baker was supposed to join us in the booth, but fortunately looks like he couldn't make it here tonight. Nonetheless, glad to see everybody still tuning out as Ken McCall Jr. is getting ready to work his way off pit roads. Next place that we do head here on Ghost Racing Network is tomorrow night to the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series, and that's going to be a good one. Each week we've seen consistently over 35 trucks, and last week we saw another new winner in Devin Ray, so we'll see if this week we can see another new winner or maybe a repeat. Maybe Devin Ray is able to win a second one, try to go back-to-back. Big payouts on the line for that one. And then, of course, Friday's got some money racing going on. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but if you're interested in joining, make sure you tune in for it. I'm sure it'll be on one of these networks somewhere. So the 88 of Jason Jacoby is going to get the inside by default here. It looks like Steve Korsak chose the outside, I believe. And that's a good decision there from Steve, especially when he knows he's going to have the 77 behind him. The bad news for these two, and Steve may be starting to realize it now, is that I don't know if they're going to have any more help on the outside. Looks like Danny Barnes might be on the outside as well, but everybody else came in and topped off, and that's why it put him on the inside. So while he is lined up with a teammate, they don't have nearly as much help as that bottom's going to have here off the start. We'll have to see if the guys further towards the back decide to maybe jump up, and that'll help even the lanes out, or if they decide to stay down and see if maybe Jason Jacoby could find his first win here tonight, get into victory lane at Talladega Superspeedway. And he has been very impressive here tonight, as just about everybody in the field is. It seems like we have called each single one of these guys' name as leading this race at some point. And you can't even count out a guy like Danny Barnes. He's got a teammate right next to him there, and John Ward actually just a row ahead. Both of those two are going to probably be looking to get connected on the outside, although John is in a pretty good position here. Not sure if they ended up deciding on top 3 or top 4 here tonight. But if it was 3, I don't know if John's in a safe position. If it's 4, I think he's okay. We're going to find out. Here we go, back into the Geico restart zone. Steve Korsek is going to mash down the loud pedal. So is Alex Hill. It's a great restart from the outside, perfectly coordinated and enough to get both of these guys clear. They're going to drop to the bottom almost immediately, I would have to think. And they stayed up just a little bit longer, hoping to stall out the inside. Jacoby's got to run. We'll see if he decides to jump high with it. It's going to be now or never. And sure enough, there goes the 88. The 77 of Alex Hill throws a big block, though. That's going to stall out. The 88 truck, he's going to fall back now as John Ward fills in the gap. And Jacoby is going to be able to tuck back down in line. Just a couple spots lost there. 3 of the McCall Motorsports trucks not with the best restart. It's going to take them here about another half to a lap to catch up. But let me tell you something. When they get there, they are going to have a big run. And look for all 3 of those trucks to jump to the outside, as now it looks like Jacoby and Barnes have fallen back a little bit. Here goes Sheets and Ward to the top. Sheets got him a little bit loose, has to check up and try to re-square up his push. And now it's going to go to 2x2. This will pull those back 3 trucks up just a little bit sooner, as we are now going to come to take 3 laps to go at the line. 2 more before it'll be official. Jason Jacoby still looking for which lane he wants. Now he's going to go to the top. Ron Morse Jr., a little bit of an indecisive move there. Hops to the bottom. That's going to stall out the run that the McCall Motorsports guys had. Now here comes Ken and Devin. We'll see if these two decide to jump to the top. Ken's taking a peek. Now he's going to make the move. Jason Jacoby does not go. Does anybody try to make the block? John Ward is now still leading the middle. He's got a good push from David Sheets. You know, he's not going anywhere. Jason Jacoby all of a sudden out to the bottom. No help, but he's going to try to make it work, so we stay 3 wide. And now it's going to go 4 wide. It's not going to work. John Ward got a little help. He's going to get turned around. Korsek backs it into the banking, and now they're wrecking even more up front as Alex Hill gets involved late. And so does, I believe that might have been David Sheets in the 06. Yeah, sure enough. And yeah, he's got some front end damage on the left and right front. And it brings out your 3rd caution of the night. And this one will send us into our first overtime. Let's go back and take a look at it. The first incident here is going to start with, I believe it was John Ward actually, and Steve Korsek. So they actually, for some reason, my eyes, I felt like were tricking me here. They got 4 wide into turn 3. And I had been trying to figure out how long they were 3 wide or 4 wide for here. And it was longer than I thought. Got 4 wide halfway down the back when Jason Jacoby made the move. And it was a great move. You can't fault Jacoby at all. But now it's just kind of that game of everybody going to start to run out of room here pretty quick, as there's just not as much. And looks like Sheets just gives a little bit of an offset push here to John Ward. Again, was trying to help him. You see he's lined up there. Maybe a little offset to the right, but it's when he slides across. He gets on that left rear and gives him one more bump. That's all it took. And it sends that 92 down into Steve Korsek. Sends Korsek down into the 88 of Jason Jacoby. And now everybody's just trying to miss it. The 92 and the 27 going to go back up the track. Actually, John Ward does a nice job of spinning that thing around and getting it pointed back in the right direction. And that means further back, or further up rather, translate to more of an incident here for the 77 and the 06. David Sheets and Alex Hill. Watch Jason Jacoby. Does a nice job of saving it too. And then some more contact here as Danny Barnes, David Sheets, and Alex Hill all just kind of gather up together. And into the outside wall they go. 77, you saw the front bumper phase off, so that could potentially be a fast repair for Alex. It didn't seem like the hardest of hits. But if he's got a fast repair this late, I mean, you almost to a degree might as well use it. Let's take it right on board here with John Ward. And watch this save. I know he makes some contact, but this is still a heck of a save for a driver getting turned at 186 miles an hour. Gets turned around. It's going to do a little bit of a 360 here. And just straightens it out. I mean, nothing to it. Steve Korsek, on the other hand, not such a lucky guy through this wreck. He took a pretty big hit. As you're going to see the back end of the 27 slide up. There it is. Boom. Launches that truck skyward. Landed back down on all 4. That was a look from the fan cam. Let's take a look now from the wall cam. Just one of those things. Everybody trying to save it. Unfortunately, nobody was quite able to. So we take one more view at it. So that wreck's going to collect, looked like about 3 of them. We'll see if everybody's still in the running. Ron Morris Jr. currently still being scored a lap down for now. Not sure if he had gotten 2 down. No, I think he's getting the lucky dog back now. So we'll see if this keeps him a lap down or maybe puts him back on the lead lap. Meanwhile, up front, Ken McCall Jr. is your current leader. Devin Ray in second. Jason Jacoby back in third. Danny Barnes in fourth. John Ward rounding at your top 5, but he does have a little bit of damage on the front end of that 92 machine. Just behind him, Steve Korsak in 6th. Alex Hill back in 7th. David Sheets 8th. And there's Ron Morris Jr. looking to get back on the lead lap. He is rounding out your top 10. Should be getting the 1-to-go signal this time. So we are going to take what is hopefully our final commercial break here tonight, but we'll go side by side, and we will be back for the green flag. Stick with us for overtime number 1 here at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready for overtime number 1. Ken McCall Jr. and his teammate Devin Ray making up row 1. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go. Who is going to win it? Good start for the inside and the outside. Unfortunately, though, everybody behind John Ward is bailing ship, and they're all going to jump to the top. That's going to give Ken McCall Jr. plenty of run to get clear, probably even bring his teammate with him. When is that third line going to form here? Look for Danny Barnes or Steve Korsak to jump 3 wide here on the top as we go down the backstretch. No move yet as the 03 is going to clear. So does the 22. They haven't dropped down low just yet, and I think that's because they know that there's going to be a lot of momentum coming now. Danny Barnes gets shot down to the inside. Doesn't have a choice. Jason Jacoby will be up to his back bumper shortly. Meanwhile, up top, the 2 McCall Motorsports teammates still lining up with the lead. But Steve Korsak, Alex Hill in a rough position. If they jump out, you got to think they may not get much help as they've got 2 McCall Motorsports teammates behind them that are probably just going to stick with the 03 and the 22. But they're going to have to try to make a run for it. Still no run on the bottom, and this race is going to be official. White flag in the air, 1 more lap to go. Through 1 and 2. Top line still rolling well. On the bottom, only Barnes and Jacoby. And those 2 are holding strong for the moment. We'll see at what point here does Ken McCall Jr. maybe think about jumping down. Not yet. Going to stay locked up with his teammate. Now he's going to have to go down. Devin Ray gave him a big shot. Now they're going to start to fan out. Split 3 wide up top. Will Steve Korsak make the move? He's not going to have to. Devin Ray's going to drop low. The bottom, not a lot of momentum. This is exactly what Steve Korsak and Alex Hill needed to see. This gives them a big run. The 27 gearing up to drop low. Doesn't do so yet. trying everything to pull the 77 with him. Can't do it just yet, so now he's going to stay to the middle. It's going to be a photo finishes. Everybody's going to fan out 3 wide coming to the line. No contact. Keep it clean. Here we go. It's going to be a race, but Korosek, he holds on and wins it at Talladega. And what a win for Korosek, but how about the push from Alex Hill? Getting the job done nice and easy for that 27 machine. Let's go back and take a look at that one. Thought it was going to be a little closer, but man, the push that Alex Hill gives to Steve right here. You see the bottom's only got 2 trucks. The top's only got 2 trucks. No contest. Gives him so much of a push that eventually shoves him out of line a little bit. And then after that, a little bit of chaos back here, and don't think that really cost anybody any positions. Just cost a little bit of chaos coming across the line, but Korosek able to win it by 0.05 of a second. And he's going to come over here and do a little rollback. And if you haven't seen, you don't see too many burnouts like the one you're about to see right here, so keep an eye on what Steve Korsak's about to do as he celebrates what I would assume is his first win of the week here. But definitely one of many that we have seen. Very talented money racing driver. We're going to get a chance to get an interview with him in the booth. Tell you what, maybe it's the good luck. We played his commercial here before the race, or during the race rather. Seems like it's worked out pretty well. He brings it around, and here's the rollback. Is he going to give it to us? He's not. He's actually going to keep going here. Lock it up. We'll see if he does a reverse one as he does so. Go ahead and take this down and see if we can't take a look at your finishing results here for the night. And so it is going to end with Alex Hill. Or excuse me, actually, I'm not sure why this is out of whack. Looks like it's still stuck on qualifying. I was going to say, that's not right. And there we go. So Steve Korosek getting the win. Alex Hill, his teammate tonight, bringing home second. A good Monday night for them. David Sheets finishes up third. Devin Ray in fourth. Jason Jacoby fifth. Ken McCall Jr. in 6th with Danny Barnes in 7th. John Ward 8th. Ron Morse Jr. in 9th. And that is going to round out your field here for tonight. So as Steve continues to celebrate, continues to burn it down, we're going to go see if we can get your top 3 for interviews. And we will be right back with him here at Talladega. Stay with us. And we're going to start first with the third place finisher here tonight, David Sheets. David, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, you bring home a podium here tonight. It's going to be a decent little payout, too, especially considering the amount of guys that we had. Now, things started to get a little dicey there towards the end. We saw you trapped in the back of what looked like was out of the money positions. How did you manage to go from the back to the front there in those last 2 laps?
That was all Ron Morse. He got on my bumper and pushed me 3 wide, and we were able to get a good enough run. I think the middle lane had to check up just enough to give us a run, and he didn't come off my bumper till the start-finish line. That was a pretty good drive from the back to the front. Pretty lucky.
Well, it certainly looked at it. Now, we saw some wrecks start to occur there during the end. Now, throughout this race, was there any kind of strategy when you see smaller fields like this to maybe hang back a little bit longer, or is it full gas from the start?
You would think just kind of take it easy, but this thing's broadcast, so we got to put on a little bit of show. We got a fast repair, so I think first 10 or 12 laps we got out there and raced a little harder than probably we should have, and it's just a fun race. There's a lot of good drivers in this field, so you can trust most of them to be able to run 2 and 3 wide and no problem. Just be able to put on a show for the broadcast.
It certainly was a show, and it was fun to watch. Before we let you go, though, tonight, to enjoy your money, would you like to thank or shout out anybody?
Yeah, I got to thank all my teammates in McCullough Motorsports, especially Ron Morse for this one. Thank my sponsors, Transmedics, LNS Customs, and I appreciate you doing the broadcast and Jeff putting this on.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, David, and congrats on that third place finish here tonight.
All right, thanks.
And now we're going to bring in your second place finisher, one of the top two finishing NBG drivers here tonight, and that is going to be Alex Hill. Alex, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, you bring home second here tonight, and the man that I assume you were working with here tonight, Steve Korosek, gets the win. With only 2 trucks against a team that had looked like 4 or 5 here tonight and 2 other 2-truck teams, how did you guys come out on top?
Oh, yeah, well, most of the time we just side drafted to stop their runs. They had, at one point, I think they had 5 or 6 on the high side, and it was just 2 of us in the middle, and that's the biggest key is just to side draft, stopped everyone from getting the runs. we had to sweat them a little bit. We had to make some pretty crazy blocks, but I mean, we work well as a team, and yeah, we were working together, work really well as a team. We have that chemistry, but yeah, it was a really fun race.
Well, it seemed like there through that last overtime, you guys look like you're in a little bit of an awkward spot, trapped behind and two behind you in terms of McCall Motorsports teammates. And I was waiting to see if you guys were going to take it 3 wide. You never had to. It seemed like the seas parted. Was that kind of the game plan, or did it just end up happening that way?
Yeah, our game plan was just to stick to the middle. We knew the cars on the bottom had a little bit of damage. We knew Ward had a little bit of damage, and we really didn't want to go down there to prohibit a run. So, I mean, we just stayed middle, and we just pushed them all clear. And yeah, I don't know how we got that there. The seas definitely just parted for us there. So yeah.
Well, before we let you go here tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thank you to everybody at MVG, Dale Cup, Steve, of course, for running with me tonight. Thank you to you for broadcasting this thing, and Jeff for putting it on.
All right. Well, thank you again for talking to us. Congrats on the second place finish, and we will see you here next time.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to bring up your winner here tonight, Mr. Steve Korsek. Steve, this is also up in the booth. You got a copy.
What's up, man?
All right. Well, you get the win here tonight. Maybe not the guy that you're used to working with in terms of Dale Cup. A little bit of an NBG affiliate here tonight. You and Alex Hill sweep a 1-2. You look like you had to do a lot of work up front to try to control the lead most of this race. How did you hold on to it?
Yeah, I was just having fun out there and was trying to be aggressive and keep people on their toes because it seemed like it was the whole field against us. So, just had to be a little extra aggressive to try and hold our position. And some people weren't happy about it, but we're racing, right? I didn't wreck anybody.
Well, speaking of wreck, we saw you get wrecked just before, I believe it was that last overtime, and I kind of asked Alex about this, but we saw both of you guys go from a little bit further towards the middle and back of the pack right there in those last 2 laps, all the way to the front and hold on to it. How did you determine that you were going to make that move to go to the bottom, and how did it work out? Or excuse me, not to go to the bottom, to stay in the middle, and how did it work out?
I felt like the middle was just had a little bit more of a run, and it was the place to be because there were more trucks up there, and just being patient and waiting because I knew that nobody was going to go with us, so we were trying to do it as late as we could. And when we saw the door open up, we just took the opportunity, and it worked out. We didn't even need to throw any blocks. We just held our line, and we got it done.
Certainly did. Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great run for both you and Alex tonight, sweeping with the teammate help. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, let's shout out to Alex. Appreciate him helping me out. That was fun. And shout out to FEG for putting it on. And you guys for the broadcast. Appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
All right, you as well. Thanks for talking to us, Steve. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
All right, there's Steve Korsek, your winner here tonight. That is going to wrap up our coverage here from Talladega Superspeedway. Again, I hope everybody did enjoy. Don't forget, Saturday, FEG-PC Mega Money Racing. A lot of money on the line. I believe it's over $3,500. Make sure you go check it out. That race will be broadcasted. For more info, head to the FEG Discord in the description below. Thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you did enjoy, and until next time, have a good night.